conversation, people, is strictly Carnival 2025. This is Shomari KRL, yours truly, BuzzB. We're going to go at a back and forth. We'll try and go like day by day and paint the picture.
Right.
But we're going to give the stories, the behind the scenes stories that y'all been waiting to hear from seeing all our stories.
From seeing all these stories. Let me start. I'll start. I did not expect to be in Trinidad for Carnival, but I was pretty happy and surprised that I had the opportunity for it to take place. And I really can't go into details of why, but let's just say that Trinidad Carnival for me was extremely important because I was not sure it would happen. But I did not have the experience like what you had. So I think your experience is much more significant for this year than my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to Trinidad, not Carnival Thursday, but the Thursday before that.
Thursday before.
Landed, thinking to myself, okay, this time I'm coming in a bit earlier. We got this planned out. I'm gonna have my 2 parties to have fun at, and then as bookings, and then as we're here today, the Thursday after Carnival Tuesday.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, we have it all down. Plan. Land that day on the Thursday. Tired as ever from that flight. Couldn't sleep the night before, couldn't sleep on the flight. Finally land, I go to bed early. So I wake up that day now, and it's about 8. So I know that night at 4 in the morning of the next night, right, that we're going to voice Stinkin' Dusty.
Stinkin' Dusty.
So I say, okay, I'll be up, I'll get my sleep, wake up 3 o'clock, get ready and go. Well, it just so happens that right across the street, when I say across the street, like when the chicken crossed the road, right across the street, they set up a full party.
Full fete.
Full fete. 400 something people. Big speakers. Nyla Black. I heard Nyla Black. I watched Nyla Blackman perform from my bedroom window. Young brother. GBM. The house is rattling. And I can't sleep now.
That's rough.
Next thing my cousins come, one of my cousins come with a friend, we bust out a line. By the time I was sleep deprived, food deprived, I ended up at Stinkin' Dusty, it was over.
Right.
Like I didn't want to have fun. I just wanted my bed.
But that's your fault.
I set up
you know what? That's your fault. Anybody will tell you. When you come to Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival, you come with the intention not to sleep long. You came into as we like to say, you come into the Gael.
But I know I at least expected a few hours.
Bad expectation.
But that's what I'm saying. I strategically planned it, and since that night, there's been no party across the street.
But mind you, bear in mind where you guys usually stay while you're here is in the middle of everything.
Right, but I could, even if something's going on at Queen's Park Savannah,
well, fair enough.
Still sleep.
Fair enough.
When it's across the street and the house is shaking.
Rattling. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't care what headphones I put in. The bed is still rattling, so I can't sleep.
Right.
So it was just one of those like coincidental moments that was like, no matter how much you try to plan this thing.
Correct.
Something will happen.
Correct.
So I say, okay, next thing now, come back from voice, go back to sleep. The next order of business now would have been Monday. Marshall, no. Whatever Monday thing they have going on. Monday Madness. So we go to that now. I think it was that moment I realized what it was with party. I realized what party was going to do.
Where's your take on that? I'll give you my take on it. Where's your take on
that so early?
Where's your take on it?
My take, and I already posted this before the judging and all of that.
Right.
My take was, I thought Carry It would have been the people's song and the song for Trinidad.
Right.
This is one of those isolated moments. I didn't feel there was any politics. I felt Marshall's song was the stronger of the two on a global scale. But that Bungees would have spoke to the emotions of Carnival in Trinidad. That was my perception of what it was going to be.
All right.
When I saw what Marshall did with that performance, it changed my perspective completely. But that never took away from how much I love the song.
Right.
I think, till today, I think it's one of the best arranged power soca ever. And that's my take.
Best arranged?
No, party.
Party.
Just because of what it speaks to, the emotion of it. You being everybody's a hard worker. Even some of the ones that don't work hard are hard workers.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
So you still feel something with that song.
I agree with
and
that.
it applies to everybody.
I agree.
But an outsider coming into Trinidad trying to figure out, well, what does Central mean, or what a.
So it's interesting to say that one, big up Mavon, Explicit Mavon, who produced Party.
Yeah.
One of my good friends. And so I'm real thankful that he finally got his Road March tune, because we thought he would have gotten it with Come Home. But the fact that he got it with Party, very thankful for that. I'm going to give you an analogy that a friend of mine gave me, that you guys who look at this, especially in the Canadian space, going to be a bit annoyed by. The person said to me, Bungie and Marshall with Carriot and Party reminded them of Kendrick and Drake, right? Here why? Don't stick with me first. Stick with me, right? The truth in fact is, if you listen to a lot of Kendrick songs, there's a lot of deeply rooted messaging in it, especially when he did his Super Bowl halftime performance.
Okay.
Everybody was like, if you came here to hear about LA and real hardcore hip hop that come from the West Coast and yada yada yada, and Kendrick is going to take you on this story that's going to go up and down, and and there's a lot of deep messages in music. So it's the truth. The truth is, with Carriot, Bungie is displaying a song that gives a feeling of nostalgia of what partying in Trinidad and Tobago all those years used to be like. Because what is the first line? It says, people that say stop living in the past. Because as an artist would have been accustomed to certain types of fets, the fet scene now is a bit different. Marshall now, who like the Drake in it, is much more commercial. We work so even though the kids can sing it, we work so and all that is part of it. The kids running around singing this song, all that is part of it. It's an easier listen, if you look at that, than Carriot. Not to take anything away from Carriot, because Carriot personally is my track, right? But that's because when you listen to it, when you really listen to Carriot, you listen to all the different undertones, what he's saying, how he's saying, whatever. That's a powerful song. But just like with Kendrick and with Drake giving it more commercial. Everybody said the little kiddies could sing it.
But that's the problem, and I've watched several interviews recently. Is a lot of this is to do with the business of it, the commerce of it,
right?
And being more melodic, being more transferable with your message,
right,
is the more valuable space. And that's not. I shouldn't say valuable.
No, I would look at it.
That's not the correct word.
That's not what it is.
It's a more profitable space.
I would say it works for who it works for.
True.
Right. And I think what it is, Bungie Garland is who he is. Right. This is who the guy has been from since the days I would have remembered it of singing in Arima in secondary schools. Again, if Bungie ever sees this, singing on the Showtime rhythm and singing on the Scooby rhythm, this is who he is known as, a lyricist. Marshall may not necessarily be as much as a lyricist, but he can give you a good melodic track, which after he comes and performs it with the confetti and the big screens and the dancers who do it, all the exciting moves, you're going to be sore, because Party, for you, look what you just said, you experienced Party, right? I listened to Carriot. There's a way big difference. So Party's experience is all the dancing. Great, you're correct. The messaging, everybody deserves a party. But from the time I got Carriot the first time, I sat down, I actually listened, I pair headphones, I listened to everything I was saying in that song. I was like, yo, this song different. But again, Carriot is the kind of song you expect from an artist like Garland. You understand?
And it's not necessarily to change who you are, because sometimes there is the value in just being you, because it could take you further than changing yourself would.
Because some people thought hard fet wouldn't win Road March.
Because it's catered to a fet, not the road.
But
that was the whole conversation at that time. But there was a conversation I was listening to with Skinny, and I believe it was with KG out of Trinidad. And Skinny was saying he fully noticed how changing his patterns and styles elevated his career.
Correct.
He arguably is like the Bungie of St. Vincent.
Right.
But he literally said once he got more melodic, once he took down the energy he was doing and crafted it like behavior on the Happiest Man Alive rhythm.
Right.
Show me your worst.
Yeah.
He's like, if you really think about that, that's a power soca just slow down.
Right.
As well with a few of his like hit bangers in that 130 BPM range.
Right.
The middle, for those of you that don't know.
The middle BPM.
But he said he noticed specifically when he started to do that, how his numbers rose, his payments rose, because it was more palatable to everybody else.
Right.
Same thing with Tyler Perry. He went through the ringer with criticism. Why are your movies so basic?
It's still basic.
Why? I get it, but his point of view is it's not for you.
Right.
Yes, you could like it and you could enjoy it, but the point is not only to reach you, to reach your mom, your grandma,
right.
your child, your granddaughter, and everybody could understand it. And that's why he would dumb it down.
Yeah.
And look at a man like that success.
Right.
And I just love the nature of the competition. You know, I don't like the politics behind the scenes. I don't like seeing people come up on Instagram with things to say, although I could understand why. You know, you pour so much into this contribution, it's everything to you. So you're going to be extra sensitive to whatever it is.
Correct.
So I could understand it, but I don't like seeing it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's a point where it's like, we have this nature back now. We have the competition. Let's just embrace it.
Yeah.
It's back. There was a couple years where the top dog was out. Everybody had the opportunity.
But you know, it's funny you say that. And this is one thing I wanted to make sure and mention on this podcast, because it's up from here.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have to go up from here, one of the things I've been saying for the last couple of months, from talking to different artists, having conversations with them in private and on a public platform, I do feel that soca and Carnival by extension does need new faces to take it from the level where it is now to go to the next level. It's not to say that I am diminishing the importance of everybody who has built it. Marshall Montano, Bunji Garlin, Fair Alliance, Destra, Sherwin Winchester, all these different artists. I will never take away anything that they have contributed and still contributing to the industry. But if you think about it, I'm sure in the last 10 years, you could count 9 different hip-hop artists who were seen as the face of hip-hop at the point in time. You could count 9 different dancehall artists who, parallel to Cartel, would have been the face of dancehall or the face of pop or whatever genre.
Yeah.
And that's because for the younger generation to find themselves attached to a musical genre, they have to see themselves in it. Right? And it's very difficult sometimes to see a guy who might be 18 or 19 to see himself into a 50-year-old artist.
Yeah.
Right? Again, not taking anything away from the artist,
yeah,
because I know the importance, but who are now the younger faces who will carry the industry further? I was having this conversation with somebody from New York recently who was like, if you ask anybody in New York, 10 artists outside of Marshall Montano and Bunji Garlin, they can't name 10,
wow,
you know? So now that we're seeing Voice is still a younger face that taking the industry.
He's probably the most prominent one.
Right, you understand? I would still say somebody like Irfan Alves, right, who still is building in certain places, but at the same point in time, a younger face, right? There are a couple of younger faces. Blacker Dan from Grenada. Not saying that he's reached the level of being a face of the industry yet, but the fact that this guy who I interviewed last year on my radio show in GMGT and was very quiet and mild-mannered, now to become the soca champion in Trinidad and Tobago, what could come out from that? How could that elevate his career? And I just say that to say that we have to now find ways to be able to encourage and push new faces of the industry, not taking away anything from the older faces, but we really have to find a way that those new faces can bring ideas, technology, music, and take the culture forward.
And you see what my issue with it is, the pitfall, in my opinion, is that younger generation they feel entitled to want to be in this space. And the reason I say that is because they will look for the handout.
Right.
They will look to see, okay, yeah, you're up there, but are you going to call for me? Are you going to book me? And you're waiting for something to come fall into your lap as a youth in the business.
Right.
When a lot of what I want a lot of the younger generation, especially those watching this, to take away, what are you bringing to the table? Let's start there. I wouldn't start with what can you do for me. Why does Marshall owe you anything?
Right.
Marshall don't owe you anything.
Right.
What can you do to benefit Marshall? Can you go, tighten up his dancer's dress? Can you go fix the DJ's this or make sure this is, what value can you add to those spaces? Before you come with your handout, how can you provide value? Think that way first, and I promise you that is the quicker way to get inside of somebody's ecosystem.
But what I would say as a little bit of a debate to that, I know, this itself could be a whole different and whole long podcast of itself. But one of the things I've had the opportunity to do is actually interview and talk to a lot of younger artists who are in the dancehall space.
Yeah.
And some of them have told me, yo, we don't necessarily want a handout, but we just want to be able to link with these people, not just learn from them, but also show our talent and have the opportunity to show our talent and not feel like it's problematic. I've had artists who have come and tell me, I would approach any, somebody in the soca industry and get blanked, producer, artist, wherever, probably because of where they're from, or from, just the style or whatever, whatnot. And the one thing he said to me, dancehall will accept it. Right? And that is one of the reasons why a lot of younger people gravitate, a lot of younger artists gravitate to dancehall, because in some way, form, or fashion, it allows them a little more opportunity than trying to get into soca. So I agree with your point in terms of you can't necessarily look at it as a handout, but everything is a balance. What are we also doing to encourage those who have the talent and not necessarily looking for the handout, but looking to put in the work? What we're doing to find our talent and put it on Main Street. And that is where the balance comes into play.
But the other side to that now is, like, people always complain about this soca mafia, right? People always say, soca mafia is fighting we down and we can't. But they never share the other side of that.
Right.
We all know there's probably not no mafia in terms of people sitting around at a round table with suits and ties and guns. That's probably not what the scene is. But there are people that control certain parts of the ecosystem. They have a certain level of control.
Right.
But those people always talking about the fight down.
Right.
Are they ever saying what they did? A lot of times it's aggression, attitude, your ego kicks in, you're cussing about this person. Yeah. You probably went on somebody's platform and pissed that person off.
Right.
You're not going to say all of that though.
Right.
But you're quick to say, no, soca mafia is... you have to kind of work both ways with it, right?
Well, so this is me now using my experience in the industry just to say it. If there is some truth that at one point in time, as an artist, if a radio station or somebody who had influence in a radio station wasn't that interested in you, so might not get.
No, but that's today.
But today now, I think one of the main things I've had this discussion with multiple DJs, Selector Carey, different other guys, right? Radio airplay is not necessarily going to control your fate on your song.
No.
That's just the truth, right? Look at even the international space. A lot of those artists, some of the artists, the best artists you could see right now in any space are independent artists. They're not under any label. Yeah. They're not no label pushing a song to radio stations. You know, they because they want to control the rights and they control their fate. Yeah. To me, if you control your fate in your music and you find strategic methods now to promote what you're doing, yes, the journey is going to be longer. I'm not going to sit around and say it's going to be easy, but at the same point in time, if in 2025 you still complaining about this radio station not playing a tune, find something else.
Bro, you have to, and that's kind of where I was getting at.
Come on, man.
Before, yes, there would have been a point where you could call it gatekeeping, or you could say somebody's stopping my career. There's none of that today. Everybody has a cell phone. If you do not have a cell phone, you are probably not watching this podcast. If you're watching this podcast, you damn sure have a cell phone. Use it. The algorithm is continuously changing.
Correct.
People don't realize, they think, oh, Instagram's screwing us with this algorithm. No, you are literally the algorithm.
Yeah.
It picks up what you like, what you send to your friends, what you are interacting with, and feeds more of that to you.
Yeah.
So once we understand that the platform has now changed from my followers watch everything I'm doing to I could post this today and tomorrow have 100,000 views, just because of the nature of what's going on in the video, or the lighting was this way, or this one wanted to send it to this friend, you could go viral very quickly if you understand that dynamic now.
You could.
And in the same breath, it also might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But the fact that that option is possible, why are you studying radio stations? I don't want to disrespect no radio station, huh? I have not turned on the radio station in my car yet.
Right.
And I bought that in 2020.
And that is a statistical thing. You know, I remember a couple of years ago, they did a statistical survey which said, people not listening to radio again, people listen to Spotify, people listen to YouTube.
SoundCloud.
You know, people listen to SoundCloud. Look, some artists trying to get 1 million on the songs so that, you know,
you calling me out to talk about let me talk about it now. What's your thoughts on Trinidad Killer, and then we'll get into the season.
All right.
Trinidad Killer and Eskimo.
Why I say this, I'll be very measured because I actually want to have a discussion with Killer on our public podcast at one point in time.
Yeah.
There have been things I've said about it, but what I will say is this. Trinidad Killer is the antagonist that will burn the house, see the house on fire, tell everybody, look, the house on fire, boy. Nobody, like, all you're not seeing what is going on here, and try to douse it and out it and be the hero and the villain at the same time. He is the hero and the villain in the story, right? He is the hero and the villain, right? And there are people that are going to F with that. There are people that are going to be like, yeah, the industry keep fighting because he just burned down the house.
Yeah.
How you can burn the house and then go on out the house with water and then call yourself a hero? But at the same point in time, it works because Eskimo is now at 1.5 million views with a Billboard artist. No matter how many people may or may not like the person, a Billboard artist who's one of the top selling artists, female artists in the world, sing a line, a hook on that song, right? To the fact where the biggest artist in the country who have gone on stage and said something had to retract his words because he know the impact of how that would have had in terms of the musical space. So look, I would say I appreciate Killer for the talent, but the theatrics, I just could do without it. Like, I honestly wish, and that is one of the things I really want to have in a discussion with him. Why do we have to go through the burning of the house to get the fire officer to come? You understand? Why we have to go through that? That's just my take on it.
And I fully agree. And I do not want the youth, them listening. The youth should not take that as the roadmap to success.
Correct.
There is value in what was just discussed. There is value in what Trinidad Killer did, right? I watched that Nicki Minaj live as it was happening.
Right.
I was mind blown to see that transpire. For Nicki just to be in the comments alone. Why is Nicki in the comments?
Yeah.
Then she goes live with Killer.
Yeah.
Then to say how she was on hiatus, not doing any music, not working on her own music, but still came across Trinidad Killer's Eskimo on YouTube. But had he not kicked up all of that stink, had he not done all of the theatrics, would his numbers have gone up to the point where Nicki Minaj would have even seen that?
Right.
And it was that bridge where I don't want to encourage that per se, but there is something there.
But that itself is the state of the social media world, as my partner called it. Have you heard the story about the naked girl who is the dentist?
No.
The idea behind the naked girl, this is interesting. The idea behind the naked girl who's the dentist is that there's this girl who goes on social media, goes on OnlyFans, she twerking naked, but she's a dentist, right?
Okay.
So she picks up 200,000 followers, and then she cuts her social media off of all the naked content. She swipes her or clears out her social media, and then the next picture that she puts up is her digging in somebody's mouth and saying, contact me for all your oral health needs. So now she has 200,000 people that was looking at them cheeks and saying, yo, I need to go back again and get my mouth fixed.
True.
So that's why I say, are we going to burn down your house?
Yeah.
And as you rightfully said, there are people that are looking at that as the norm, and that's not normal.
Yeah.
It might work for one person, but not everybody could burn down the house.
And that's the issue. The kids will see that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now I have to do like Trinidad Killer to get that. But that's not what it is.
Or clap them cheeks.
For me,
to be the dentist.
For me, it's more so like the 50 Cent formula.
Right.
is where I see like the sweet spot in all of that. In a few of those stories, if you really pay attention, it's clickbait, so you may not realize. But a lot of times, 50 Cent is purposely starting those things. He'll go to the person beforehand and say, yo, Shomari, let's start this argument online. We know what it is, but let's just start saying the little subliminals and let the public roll with it. But we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it works. As long as you don't cross no lines. I don't like how Shomari was wearing that hat in that interview. But people will run with that. Now Shomari's name is in everything. BuzzB's name is in everything. Yeah. We still good.
Yeah.
So I think that, to me, that's like kind of the, I don't even really want to encourage that either, 50 Cent.
No, the fabricated stuff.
It's a good,
Yeah. So even to this day, we always tell BuzzB about how she did. We can't see how she did. Right? We never see how she did. But there are so many people in Toronto.
Shomari?
Feels like it's have a house.
Shomari?
But yeah, that's still good.
Do we really need to get into the anyway. No, he already talked about balance, so we'll leave him.
Oh, good.
Carnival 2025. Carnival 2025. We'll start it from this point, like just what we're gonna run through the week.
Right, quickly. Right.
Carnival 2025. You guys want to hear the stories? Here they are. You landed Carnival Tuesday, correct? Like not
Carnival
day, but
Carnival Tuesday. Well, the week before Carnival, Carnival Tuesday, correct? Yeah.
So I mean, I knew you were a little incognito until the next day. You didn't want nobody to know you were there.
Yep.
My first presence plugging in my laptop for Trinidad Carnival 2025 was Just So.
Right.
Big up Gel. Big up his whole team. They're a very hard-working group. Their numbers, it looked like almost doubled from last year.
Yep, and double the year before that. Yep.
And double the year before that. The size of the venue looked like it tripled. Right? So all of these things are working in Gel's favor for that Just So brand to really start to blossom.
Correct.
I'm very proud of him and his team because that's a friend from a long time. He's also somebody who I would consider a friend in this industry that has looked out for me as I've looked out for them. And when I tell you, that was one of those experiences. You know what, as a DJ sometimes, or MC, you go out and rock the crowd. You come off that and everybody coming and shake your hand. Oh my God, you did so good. I legit felt like a superstar that night.
All the ocean names, all of that.
It was one of those feelings like and not just me, Mega as well. Big up By Far Mega.
By Far Mega.
He was my MC at the time, and we have an amazing chemistry when it comes to like that stage.
Yeah.
Him and I, for some reason, is just like different.
Yeah.
But we killed it, slaughtered that party. People were coming to shake our hands and stuff. I'm still getting messages about that party till today. So I want to say thank you to the Just So team for having us, having me. And again, that was an amazing way to kick off the Carnival week, right? Thursday now. Thursday is not Phuket Day.
That was Tropical Luau Day.
Tropical Luau Day. So you go ahead now. This is now your time.
Yeah, we weren't aware of the change of venue. They also, given so many things that were going on, I wouldn't say if they forgot, but it kind of slipped the team, hey, we need to get back in contact with you, because they just thought it would have been done. But I remind them, hey, just don't forget BuzzB's here. So they booked you. You reached before me, you arrived at the Fed before me. I know you had a real good vibe because even one or two people in the committee was like, yo, BuzzB, he set real, brought the energy in the beginning, and that is the kind of, again, play their position, right? I arrived there, went on with Selector Kerry. That was the first time Kerry and I have played in an event, and you've seen it. For people who haven't seen Kerry and I do an event in years, we could not do an event for 2 years and let's come back and it'll be like, because we have that level of communication where he will give me a signal, because we kind of developed that from watching like how bands perform. So when you watch like Marshall and all those bands perform, they turn around, they can have an idea of what cues come and when. Because Kerry and I both are natural bred DJs, I know what he's gonna do from beforehand. So I know you and Tasha were hella worried because the stage was literally this big. It was not any big stage. Plus, planks on the stage was broken. So every time I'm jumping from the left side to the right, Tasha is watching like, do not go that far. Because she at that point,
you only made the wrong step.
If I only made one wrong step, it would have been me in the hospital again on Carnival Thursday and Saturday, Friday. And I know that would have freaked everybody else out. right? But what a lot of people don't know is that I was very mindful of what I was doing, because as much as I was in the space, I really didn't want to do anything to re-aggravate the injury. But, you know, at the end of the day, party was really, really good. You know, again, there's another podcast we could talk about in terms of how people scale events, which is something I plan to talk to the Empire about. But Bungie comes, shows his professionalism, performed with a microphone. I was giving him some issues and still gave him a full performance. You know, I still came in, gave a full performance. Full blown came in, they performed. Lady Lava, who even you will admit is like looking at poetry on stage. Yeah. Right? Lady
Freaky
Lava,
poetry.
Freaky poetry, but no, because from the time she came on the stage and she started to perform from the first track, which is Ring Pon Finger, she did not stop singing, or she didn't stop saying poetry, even for freaky poetry. So it wasn't like when you get accustomed to artists saying, okay, people XYZ and introducing a song. No, she would continue singing whatever the lines would be like. There's so much lines right now, I can't remember. And the DJ in the back, who you were really impressed with, would be giving her the cue. And like, he knows when she's going to sing on a particular song, so then he would give her the instrumental. That was the first time I ever saw Lady Lava perform in person, and I was totally mind blown and impressed. That was my biggest takeaway from Tropical Luau. The DJ who played for Lady Lava, who, mind you, after was like, yo, I've been following you for like a long time. And I was like, wow, you understand? So again, you don't know who watching you and what you're doing. And that's why it's always important to leave a real good impression on people, and especially in business, in your name, you know? So that was Luau on Thursday. Well, I've already given my Phuket Friday story. So your story now, because you get executive treatment, which I didn't get. Right?
Before that, just to touch on the Lady Lava, the DJ conversation. Again, this was like stars align. Everybody focused on Lady Lava, everybody. But for some reason, I happened to be beside the DJ booth. But I'm studying the performance, and I'm like, it's not like he's just playing a song.
No.
He is there with the beats and on point with her every bar. So when I turned and I'm looking at him, there was so many things he was doing that I was just mesmerized by. Even down to like his beat pattern and how on point he was. Little things, bro. Like I took a 15-minute video of this guy. Just as he was doing his thing, so I could look back at it and pick up notes. Something as simple as the platters, the buttons. I would normally, when I press it, I would press it like this. For those of you watching on the YouTube, I would just use my finger and press the button. But what I noticed with him, he would go like this. And push his thumb under this curve in his finger. And he uses that to press it. So I questioned, why is he doing that? And then when I went home and actually did it, this is far more responsive than this. Because there's so much jiggle and whatnot. Locking your finger like this, that's how he's able to be precise. Something as small as that, like I picked up from this guy. And that was just me being in the vicinity. So it's not just parties we're coming here to do, it's studying. And learning these things, because I'm able to now translate that in my own way back home or wherever I decide to take it, right? And something in regards to posting about that. I woke up that next day thinking about that. To the point where I don't normally, like, as much as I'm a presence on social media, I don't normally take up my phone all the time and talk. That morning, for whatever reason, I ain't even combed my hair yet. Sorry guys, I just woke up, but that DJ last night, crazy. That was in my story. I'm not thinking nothing about that post. The man went and took the whole post, put it up on his page. Lady Lava's collaborating on it. They invited me to be a collaborator on it. I went in parties after that. Random Trinidadians. You was the guy that said that about? I didn't try with that post at all.
That's where fate does sometimes surpass consistency. I'm home working on posts, reels, trying to edit properly, put music, and those are not going nowhere. How did I catch that like that? But yeah, no, real talk. It's one of those moments, bro, like I had to sit there like, it's just gonna happen when it happens. And that's the perfect segue into my crazy Carnival Friday. Y'all, those of you following me on my Instagram, you would have seen I said I had an equal amount of gigs last year than I did this year, coming into Trinidad.
And I said, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm hoping like on the down days, because I'm here in Trinidad for a lot longer of a time.
Right.
I'm hoping whatever happens on those down days, somebody calls me or something. I don't know how it will happen, but as long as I get one, then it beats last year, and that's progression.
Yeah.
I'm laying in my bed, bro. I kid you not. It was 2:30 p.m. on Carnival Friday, praying, trying to figure out how to get this next gig. Nobody calling my phone. Right? So I say, no, I'm probably not going to get this gig. It's whatever. I get a call. Patrick Hype Man. Mind you, I just shelled down Japan Carnival
with
Patrick
yeah.
for the second year in a row. And we killed it better this past year.
Yeah.
So now I'm even in his head to be as a backup. He calls me. Yo, Buzz, what's the word? BuzzB, what's good? His voice hoarse.
Yeah, it's Carnival too. It's Carnival Friday, so you know, Patrick, yeah, Buzz.
Yeah.
Buzz,
so
what's going on?
He say, are you busy today? I said, nah, I'm really not doing anything today.
Hey, bro, I have something for you, right?
Just so.
Just so.
my DJ had a emergency root canal. And I'm trying to call him right now. And our driver, personal escort, is on his way to pick us up. But he's not picking up his phone. I need you to be ready in 25 minutes if you can, bro. Like, I would really appreciate if you did this gig.
Mm-hmm.
I got up, within 20 minutes I was ready.
With a personal escort that we can't really describe the personal escort.
I've already been told I cannot say the full story.
Yeah.
If you only heard the full story, you wouldn't believe me. Unless I showed you the pictures and videos.
Yep.
Personal escort pulls outside my house on the dot at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Picks me up. We are zooming through traffic. There wasn't even no traffic. But the point was to get us through the traffic if there was.
No, it's not traffic. I was in traffic.
A little, no. Well, you left a lot later.
I was in I'm still in traffic.
Anyway. But yeah.
I'm still in traffic.
We pick up Patrick now, and now we're headed to Chaguaramas area for this gig. I'm still mind blown. I'm in this personal escort car, like, the man driving like this. I'm in the car, like, trying to balance myself. And I'm feeling like this is a movie, bro.
Yeah.
Patrick in the passenger seat.
Yeah, because...
Calm, like, this is an everyday thing for him.
Yeah.
I said, bro, I feel like I'm in Mission Impossible right now. This is crazy. So he just started laughing. We reach the gig now. Put down our stuff. We go inside. It is literally the set I love to play. Not the opening, not even Prime. But you see that build right before Prime?
The build right before Prime, yeah.
That is what I love because I control that mood as people come in.
Correct. I
curate that. So it's not working off bad energy or too good energy or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. I build that. So Patrick and I go to plug in. Mind you, I've been trying to get on this party. Messaging down the account. Can't get a hold of nobody. So it just so happens now I'm here playing the perfect slot. Bro, when I tell you we killed that event, killed to the point people were coming up to me again in the party, even people from Toronto. I know such and such, this big DJ. So I want to put you in contact with them. How can I get in I was just in my bed praying, how the hell am I going to figure this out? Mm-hmm. Within 20 minutes, bro, all of it just fell on my lap. All of it in a personal escort?
Yeah.
Car?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
When people question if God is real or not, it's just moments like that. What are you supposed to say?
And quickly on that, one of the things that you told me about that event, which I saw when I got there and I played 2 sets after you, because I was stuck in traffic, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But one of the things that happened was the lady in the party,
yes,
who was disabled,
yeah,
or as we like to say, we should say now, differently abled.
Okay.
And she was there with her family, and Patrick made it an important part to give her her props for just coming out and letting everybody surround her and show her love that, hey, even though you might be in this wheelchair, that doesn't mean that you can't be entertained with the rest of us.
Nah, bro, the story was way deeper than that. So essentially what he said, he stopped the whole party. He said, Buzz, pull up energy and then stop it. So I pull up energy and I just had it bouncing in the background. And he stopped the party. He said, listen to me, guys. I have a friend over there, the lady in the wheelchair. She's been coming to Phuket for the last 5 years, religiously.
Yeah.
And she has been brought by a young lady who has brought her here to purposely get her out of that bad spirit.
Yeah.
And he said, isn't it so crazy that that same young lady who's bringing out this older woman to enjoy herself and her life, the younger lady ended up passing away last year.
Oh, wow.
And this lady still came out here today just to pay homage to the friend that's been bringing her out.
Well, I can't even
Bro, and you knew how Phuket was. Like, we're a level up, like a good story up.
Yeah,
almost. I am looking out into the crowd, and all I'm seeing is people dabbing the tears from their eyes.
Yeah.
There's obviously a few drunk people that they probably ain't heard what happened. But I'm seeing crying happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like heartwarming reminder moments of just life, how life could be, you know, and that was touching. So for all of that to have happened with 20 minutes notice, it shows me God is real.
Yep.
And like, it may not be in your time, but at the same time, it may just come up like that and you got to be ready.
Yep.
You know, so the fact that I got to play on that event and it went, when I got there, it may have been what, 200 people?
200 people.
It was like 1,000 by the time I left.
1,000 by the time I left, yeah.
We were done at what, almost 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
I went to get food. We went back in the escort and dipped.
Yeah.
And you were still in traffic. So I went and slaughtered the party, back home in my bed before you.
Before yeah. Because then again, I'm there in traffic. I don't have any personal escort.
Yeah. But even that alone, bro, I never thought of that for the DJ.
Correct.
I never thought of that for the MC.
Correct.
This is something I thought was reserved for Marshall and Bungie.
Right.
But even to see that, it opened up my world to a whole new possibility. To see new possibilities.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is hard to question, how the hell is Private Ryan on 27 events tonight?
Yeah.
Stuff like that is why.
Yeah.
If you were stuck in the regular people traffic, you probably could only do 2 or 3.
You see?
But that personal escort, I'm going to get to like 7 of them.
You see?
So it opened up my eyes. It wasn't for me, but I still got to experience it and I was exposed to it. So that was just a mind-blowing day. Yeah. And I couldn't wait to share that story. So there was definitely that.
But also, going back to that same event, Carnival Friday, fuck it. Went back this year, mashed up that event at Adam.
Me too.
So exactly. So you arrived before me in fine style, Mike Tyson, right? Yeah. You arrived before me, but that's why I say Carnival Friday, fuck it. If anybody from fuck it ever looks at this podcast, which I'm sure they will.
Don't they say Phuket?
No, it's Phuket. Fuck it.
I don't know.
I'll just call it fuck it, right?
Okay.
If you guys ever, I have a special place in my heart for that event. For however long I'm given the opportunity to do it, just because a year ago I went in that event and I hobbled out, and 1 year later I came back and made new friends and was able to totally do what I do to the best with DJ Adam and walk out feeling vindicated.
Nice.
That I was able to jump that hurdle.
Now, I think this year I made a much better decision not to go to Ambush. Okay. It was a last minute decision too, because I was almost gonna go.
I have my comments for that, but I'm gonna save that for my platform. Yeah, I'm gonna save that for my.
We're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna do it.
But where that is concerned now, again, you know, because I asked you too, and it's not of your fault why it didn't happen. But I said, bro, I want to get on radio. But I don't want to do the same thing I did last year because it was a crazy amount of ads.
Correct.
For a 3-hour show, I played 20 minutes.
Yep.
I'm not going back there. Is it possible you could figure out this and this out? You weren't in a decision-making position, so I could understand why it didn't materialize. But again, I reached down here. My cousin's dating one of the bigger DJs in Trinidad. He's working on the biggest radio station in Trinidad.
You see, this is how she named this work fair, you know? This is how, and I say that because
that's my cousin.
I know, but what says this? What says this? I just said that how she named does sometimes have a bad connotation. It doesn't necessarily have a bad connotation. Because even though it's your cousin, it's your loving cousin loving somebody else, and that person is able to give you opportunity. I like to tell you the truth.
I don't know what the hell he just said.
I lie.
Lou. Lou. That's what that is, Lou. Anyway, back to...
Yeah. No,
Right, Leslie Ann, I'm sorry.
God,
I'm so sorry.
oh, God,
He calling Leslie Ann house shit, but
Oh, my
whole day on the road. Oh, Leslie, so good to see you.
God.
Now it's house shit.
Oh, my God.
You see you?
You want to take that into bad way. Anyway, this story, please.
So he ended up being connected in certain events I wanted to play in.
Right.
But all of these things, and now he wants to come to Toronto. So that was like a match made. But one phone call, bro. One phone call. Right before Soca Brainwash, he was able to put me in an hour slot.
Yep.
And I slaughtered that hour. I had people calling the radio. BuzzB's killing it. I don't know who the hell is calling this radio. It's random people, not just from Trinidad either. It was insane.
Yeah, because they get a lot of listeners, especially Carnival weekend.
But had I gone Bush, I couldn't have done that. And then Brainwash would have been a write-off.
That's a sign, don't go in the bush.
Right. Or hopefully they moved the bush to another day.
Hopefully they move the bush.
But either way, I woke up that morning now, went straight to Boom. Big up everybody at Boom 94.1 FM. I'm hearing this is the biggest, if not one of the biggest stations on the island.
One of the biggest, that's correct.
So to even get that opportunity, it was a cohesive set because David and I already had dialogue. Right, we've spoken. He's a great MC. I killed it with the Soca vibes, and I gave them something that wasn't like the typical top 10.
Right.
So it was a very amazing opportunity, again, to materialize within a matter of half a day.
Yeah.
And then from there now, it was straight to Brainwash.
Right.
Did you see what the hell they did in Soca Brainwash?
In terms of the event and
holy cow, yes, bro.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people Soca Brainwash is one of those events that, again, you could see where the money goes to.
Yeah.
You know, there were competitor events on the day that probably spent somewhat the same amount of money, or maybe less. But they didn't have the level of cohesion and organization that came out of Soca Brainwash.
Yeah.
In terms of the stage, in terms of the accessibility to food and drink, in terms of getting into the venue quick enough, in terms of just the elaborate production that goes into Soca Brainwash. It is not something that's, and I know whenever you have that discussion with Private Ryan, that'll come up. He has said before that their concepts of Soca Brainwash sometimes go 2-3 years beforehand. Yeah. And you could see where that comes out from the financial perspective. So when you spend that money, you do get your money's worth. Yeah. Right? And we haven't even glossed over the stage and how elaborate the stage is and all the props in the venue.
Moving pokeballs.
Moving pokeballs and a skinny looking Black Panther that was sitting on a chair and all those, the arcade in the middle of the football field.
Arcade?
An arcade in the middle of the field. And enough booths that you could get like 10 different party cups from and leave with souvenirs. You could go to a bag and leave with a bag of souvenirs. That's why I pay money. Yeah. Yeah. So give Ryan his props.
For sure. And just even like the fact of picking up accreditation before the day allows me to be on the ground physically and just look around. Yeah. Yeah. Small tidbits I'm picking up by being in that space. So even though, the early sets could be a little frustrating sometimes, I'm thankful to be there. And I'm very happy to be exposed to a lot of these things that I may not have got exposure to before. Seeing what they put together, being there the day before to pick up my passes, then showing up the day of and seeing that is like insanely inspiring, especially for somebody like me. Yeah. So I have to take my hat off to that whole team because we know it's not just Private Ryan.
It's not Ryan, correct.
Right? And everybody that had hands on that event, I told Ryan on that Soca Baby stage, bro, A+++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++ Plus. You get all the pluses.
Yep.
Amazing job.
Yep.
And I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah.
You know, so Brainwash in itself, I did well. I still played my section. People were vibing. Big up the dancers that were in that area. Big up everybody that came to the Soca Baby stage. And this was the first year in a long time I actually got to enjoy myself at Brainwash.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't hungover from ambush. So I'm glad I made that decision. And I was able even to network a little better, you know?
Correct.
And just if I were to see people, it wasn't, I'm hunched over and tired.
Yeah.
So big up everybody on that team, the Brainwash team, and all the events they had for the season. What was your Carnival Saturday like?
Well, I was at Brainwash. A lot of people didn't expect me to be there.
Yeah.
So I came with a t-shirt that basically said, due to the inflation, this is my costume.
This guy.
I'll post it on my social media.
Basics.
Yeah, very basic. Egg prices are high.
Back to basic.
Egg prices are high, bro. Inflation is high. You know, but when I saw Ryan, who was like, yo, I wanted to have you for the event, but I didn't know if he was going to be here. I was like, bro, at the end of the day, I'll still come through this.
Bro, let's talk about that now. This is part of your story, right? And I can't remember if you touched on it, but imagine Shomari found out, what was it? Maybe the Sunday?
The Saturday before I came to
the
Trinidad.
Saturday that he was able to go to Trinidad.
At that point.
We wouldn't get into details, but imagine you find out from Saturday you can go.
Yeah.
You had a flight in limbo.
Yep.
And within 3 days, you had to pack for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Go down to Trinidad.
Yeah.
You haven't even organized gigs yet.
Yep.
People have been begging these promoters for months.
Yep.
So when it really boils down to like, you're in the heat of Carnival now, you have to now hope you even get a response from people.
But that was part of my going on faith too, because I knew that there were some bookings that were coming later this season, and I understood that there was a possibility I would be back in time, but I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So even though I told some of them what the situation was, a lot of them didn't really know until the week of. Ryan, however, because even though he made contact guys kind of late, he still has in his mental periphery who he wants to book. Yeah. So he had spoken to a couple of people before, DJ Adam, whatever, and it's like, yo, Shomari, you'll be here. And nobody really knew, you know? So I didn't want to say, well, yes, I was going to be here for sure. True. And then have to give up.
It throws things off.
Yeah, it throws things off, especially for a production like that.
Yeah.
So for me, just being there to support it, and I'll say this quickly before we go on to Sunday, again, love the fact that with your family, sisters there, you're playing early, middle, late, and your sister's there taking footage.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, I sent her a photo, sent your sisterly love, which I sent her, that she was just there, and people are now coming in, but she's there to make sure to support, you know, and sometimes support doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be involved in everything. Sometimes just being there when somebody needs you there, you know. So that was the Saturday to that. Quickly, Sunday, we had a boat ride on Sunday. That was one of the events that I was carded to play in if I was supposed to be here. I, knowing that my voice is now on the downswing, saying to myself, I need to get an announcer. And I was like, you know what? This is an example to other DJs where sometimes just being present provides opportunity. And you were there. I reached out and said, Buzz, what are you doing today?
Mind you, I'm coming off of my morning boat ride. 6
a.m. boat ride. I was like, nothing right now. I said, yo, I'll pass to pick you up in 20 minutes.
No.
Obviously, it's not going to be.
3 p.m.
It was no escort, but you still get picked up, right? And we go to the boat ride. The boat ride could hold 200 people. So in customary Trinidadian fashion, 400 people are on the boat. So that means that the boat can't move off the dock, right? But people still enjoy themselves. And look, another example of how being present matters, because you're announcing and still even me giving me certain pointers at certain points, me using my experience, but also relying on your creativity, was able to create so much great moments from that boat ride that we captured on footage, that even when we left, our friends is like, yeah, you all were like the baddest thing on the boat. And I never say things to be self-indulgent, because that is not the kind of person I am, but sometimes, and it's for anybody, when people pay a compliment, be grateful for it. Because they are the events that you'll go to and you already won't smash it, and people come and watch you like, yeah, you was good, but you know in your mind, it really was not that good. But if we can have people running up and down the boat with the flags, right? When we play the Someone Else remix, that you was like, play that, and I was like, yeah, sure, in my mind, but you have a game plan fit, and people take it and run with it and create content from it. Those are things that are the memorable moments that come out from doing this, that you have to value. So we did that boat ride on the Sunday, and that was a great experience on the Sunday.
Yeah,
you know?
And that morning, I had to be up for 6 to go to Blaze's boat ride.
Blaze's boat ride.
Blaze, the Naked Entertainment team.
Yeah.
That alone was a whole scene within itself.
Yep.
Blaze had a wicked crowd. They were vibing. Again, I was a star of the show. That's a common denominator y'all are seeing here. I'm not trying to toot my horn either, but that's how it kind of happened.
Yeah.
And the fact that certain shows where that happened, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I had 20 minutes notice. So that proves to you, like, it's not me preparing for days for this gig and I need to get ready. No. Sometimes it's on the fly.
It's on the fly, because that same best line boat ride, big up best line, You had no knowledge you were going to do that boat ride.
1. 2, I didn't know the clientele.
You didn't know the clientele.
3, you asking me to MC. I'm from Toronto. What if this is a local Trini crowd and they don't want to hear my...
And I knew because Best Lime has a good mix of international people, because Kendall knows his people.
Yeah.
It was a good mix of people from Grenada, from all the different islands, and from bigger territories. So I knew you could fit into that route.
It really fit perfectly because the way we erupted that boat ride was crazy.
Yeah.
But that was coming off of my morning boat ride. Right. Then having to collect myself. You picking us up to go new boat ride.
Yep.
Then fighting with playtime, this and that, and figuring out when we're going to play.
When we're going to play.
So we're not even sure if that was going to happen. Yeah. So it's like, did we waste our time coming here? Then next thing you know, kill the boat.
Yeah.
Have people turning their heads like, who the hell is these guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was crazy. And then from that point now, 2 boat rides back to back within that first half of the day. Shell. Leave from there now. Go Imagine Juve. What upsets me when you're in a party and you're trying to preserve that energy because you know, okay, I have so-and-so gig coming up.
Right.
Or I may have so-and-so coming up.
Right.
I could get called.
I'm preserving that point
energy.
I understand.
And there's certain people that come up to you like, yo, bro, are you okay? Like, you're not having any fun?
It's been since 5 a.m.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. People expect you at all points in time. Rag in the air, wave this. No, bro. I know I have 2 gigs coming up. I'm preserving myself because if after those 2 gigs, I have to walk home 40 minutes with a 50-pound bag on my back, I don't want to be killing myself out right now. So don't study how much fun you think I'm having. I'm having a great time. Worry about yourselves. You understand? But anyway, that was just one of my pet peeves for the season. We do the Imagine Juve, big up Private Ryan, that was a good vibe. We caught maybe 2 hours of it. Good vibe. Monday.
Carnival Monday. The return to the streets with proper feet.
Yeah, no crutches.
No crutches, no crutches. Well, again, just to summarize it, because even though we discussing Carnival, I don't want to spend too long on it because we've been here for a while.
Yeah.
One thing that I told you in 2024, I told JKD this in 2023, the road is a science.
Yeah.
And we proved why, as a DJ and as an announcer, you have to understand how to play music for the road. As I said before, I'm not a self-indulgent person. That's not my nature.
Yeah.
But I do believe that when it comes down to doing road, I have a good understanding of communication, self-awareness, what songs to play, where to play it. Why not to play Power Soca at this point, but why to play Power Soca at that point?
If you want to play on the road, take notes.
Right? How to communicate certain things like truck movement, how to communicate certain things like self-awareness for the masquerader, right? How to keep masqueraders engaged. Not just generalizations like everybody put their hand in the air, but identifying that there are so many different countries and so many different cultures there. A group who I met, well, and we follow each other on Instagram now, and you know them, Soca in Japan, right? We're playing at Yuma. Yuma has Japanese masqueraders. Yeah. So if you're not aware of what's going on, you probably go and miss that. And now that guy followed me and it's like, yo, I loved you on BuzzB energy, you know? So when I tell people doing the road is a science, is because you have to really sit and think about all the different nitty-gritties that go into being a road DJ, which is why I believe that Yuma's management hired me and you to do it, right? So shout them out for that. But it's also why it is that I understand that that is my skill set, which has transferred me into doing road management for Fusion Mass in St. Lucia, road management for Toronto Carnival, right? So Yuma Monday, in terms of what we did, and we didn't even know when we were going on. We thought we were going on early. We went on a little bit later than expected, and just being able to bring that energy to your road and for people to remember what you're doing because of the professionalism that you put into it, something that can't be replaced.
Bro, we flipped over Monday. We flipped over Monday. That's no question. And that specifically, that Monday set, I'm more confident about that set than the Tuesday. Even though Tuesday was fire. And
you're saying that, and I feel more confident about the Tuesday because we started at a high point.
True.
We went back into the, as we like to say, the groovy soca, which is the 110 BPM. So we went back into that and then built it back in the 120s. And we did that from just after the launch spot straight down to, as we in Trinidad know, St. James Road, St. James, and then turning on to go down to Soca Drome, facing multiple street corners, facing power lines that are coming down, and me now trying to communicate with you while I'm standing on the street with a microphone. So that's why as a DJ as well, to give you respect, because you're aware of what's going on. So it's not just about you in this box zone of doing that, but you are aware, okay, let me look to see what's happening, let me see what my announcer is telling me, let me see what's happening in the road. All those different things come by and make road a science. And to me, you love the Monday morning Tuesday. The Tuesday to me was like a prime BuzzB Shomari KRL set.
True.
Because we literally went from, as I like to say, the Caribbean musical journey. We took them through a musical journey and were still able to keep people vibing, turn corners, have ambulance passing, people whining while police passing. That does not happen just like that. So to me, Carnival Tuesday, your take was Monday, mine was Tuesday. Tuesday for me was really...
You're right. And I think to your credit and to give you kudos and props, I've been in a lot of these spaces with you, and I've seen how you move and operate. And one review that I would say is consistent across the board is you're not just coming to the table with a talent. A big reason of why you're in those spaces is your experience.
Right.
And everything you just listed there, I legit need anybody in this space to go back and take all of those notes down. Because it's not just about taking the microphone and screaming down the place, or going and using the microphone to wind up in some gal face so she could see you have a microphone. It's not about that. It's not just about that.
It's not just about that.
Because as the mic man, you are literally at a certain point in charge of people's lives. Think about the level of responsibility that holds.
That's what I told you, mic man and traffic branch management. Traffic management,
It's crazy, and you literally are responsible, because if you don't make certain announcements, somebody could get licked down. It's happened many times. So think about how important that position is, and treat it as such, right? Those notes earlier, I'm telling you, that's what you need to like itemize and understand one by one.
One by one.
Down to the turns, you need to make announcements. A car is passing, you need to be aware. You cannot just be in your zone, in your box as a DJ. You need to know when to lower the mic so that you can make a broad, clear announcement. Right? Carnival in general, and we'll wrap it up here. This year, to me, it was the longest I've ever stayed on the road with the band. I got to experience a lot more this year from beginning to end. And I truly want to give a round of applause and take my hat off to Yuma, right? I think they did an incredible job overall. There wasn't as many hiccups as we may have had last year. But the way that road was structured, at the end of that parade, bro, I wanted to shed a tear when I was looking up to the sky. And saw that drone performance that they had. It felt magical, because you're expecting the normal cliche fireworks. But when you look up and see something spelling out Yuma, Panis, the Trinidad flag, look at the goosebumps on my... I wanted to shed a tear at that point. And for a band to make me feel that is something it doesn't come across every day. I do this for a living now. 10 to 20 of these I do a year. I have not felt that feeling yet. Aside from just being back in Trinidad and just how that engulfs you and your emotions. But Yuma, I have to say hats off to them. I want to say a huge thank you to Yuma, to Sean, and Sean would know why I'm saying thank you in regards to everything, with Yuma. But what they put together, and for them to even trust us enough in this space, is very heartwarming, and we, it's to discuss moving forward with them, and I'm sure it will happen. Because as you mentioned yesterday when we spoke on the phone, we over-exceeded expectations. I'm getting texts on my phone from people I have never met before. I had to run to the truck to make sure I heard your set on Carnival Tuesday. Because the one I heard on Carnival Monday was that good. Random people. Japan, as you mentioned, Japan Soca Weekend, they're posting themselves. Y'all could go see it yourself. They are saying in their language, BuzzB was the best DJ on the road. It amazes us that BuzzB's music can translate even to Japan.
I saw that.
This is not no little things we're talking about here. There's not no small thing we're talking about here.
Yep.
This is like, we are really paving a way, and that's part of the reason why I made it a point. I wanted to have you in this capacity on the podcast. Shomari, my bro, I appreciate everything every time.
I appreciate
We'll do part 2 soon and really formulate that. This was on a whim. This was freestyle. That shows you our genuine connection.
Yep.
All right, people, it's been another episode of the Up From Here podcast. We want to thank Shomari. We appreciate your time, bro. Once again, we're here in the beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you guys for listening to all our crazy stories. Coming with part 2 very soon. Thank you for watching, and we are out.